everybody, this is Esme and today's video is another pony photo shoot because we did a second one while it's the summer, the grass is growing, there are leaves on the trees and it's actually sort of sunny for once in England. Again, we decided to do all of the photos where I didn't need to wear a helmet, I didn't need to be with a horse because if not I get helmet hair and that is not that great for when you're having a photo shoot and you want to look half decent. So the first sort of photos we were taking was actually in the field and this was sort of an article on things I need to check in the field. So here I'm just checking a water trough. I also had to check the fencing as well. And then the next thing that we took photos of was me actually digging out some ragwort. And it's actually quite funny here because I couldn't find any gloves. In the end, I actually used my grandma's brand new gardening gloves and they weren't the trick, but also the ground was so hard because we hadn't had that much rain recently, so I had to sort of jump on the shovel to try and get it somewhat in the ground. And there I am just putting the ragwort into the purple wheelbarrow, and yes, it was not intentional for me to match the wheelbarrow with my purple top, but it just ended up happening. And of course, I also ended up matching the bucket and the fork I was using to do poo picking in the field. It was quite funny when we were doing the poo picking shots because I had to sort of pour in the poo really slowly so then the photographer could get a photo of the sort of poo in motion. I don't think I'd ever thought I'd have to say that, but you know, the things you have to do for a photo shoot. And of course, the best part of the photo shoot is spending the whole day with Mickey and Casper. And of course, Mickey was very licky on this day and he was also had quite a few yawns as well, so he must have not got that much sleep last night and was partying again with Casper in the field. And here he was just getting lots of strokes from Jeddy, and then we did a little thing on tying up a lead rope. So here I'm tying up on how I sort of hang it up in my tack room all nice and tidy. After Holly filmed that on her camera, then the photographer took some photos of lots of different angles of me doing up the lead rope. Oh yeah, sorry if it gets a bit wet, but that's fine. Mickey! Gotta keep it still. Mickey, don't throw yourself on the floor. And here we had a photo of Mickey holding up the pony mag and we all had a bit of giggles about it. After we did some stills of me holding the mag and I actually had to use my hand to cover up the slobber marks from where Mickey had been holding it, and then Mickey decided, no, I want to hold it, yanked it out of my hands and I had to quickly grab it out, and yes, there were slobber and chew marks on it and Mickey just really wanted to hold it himself, so sorry Mick. Afterwards we did some sort of general shots on the yard, so here I'm just putting some water in a water bucket and then we sort of moved it around and tried to get Casper in the background and get his ears forward, which is always a task when it comes to pony photo shoots. But he actually seemed quite excited because we got the treat jar out as well, which is always a good idea. And then we were just doing the clip on Mickey's stable, so we took some photos of that and had to sort of get him back because he was too leaning out of the stable. Next, it was then time to go into the centre of the yard or the hard standing. I grabbed my broom and we did some sweeping shots, and this actually worked quite well because as I was sweeping away I was also making the yard look a little bit tidier for the rest of our photos there. It was actually quite difficult because we had to get Mickey and Casper's ears forward at the same time, and it wouldn't be a pony mag photo shoot without having a little break with Mickey giving somebody a lick at some point, and here I think he was very interested in Jeddy's hand. After that we then took some photos with me grooming Mickey, which was absolutely fantastic for myself as it meant I didn't have to worry about Mickey being clean before the pony mag crew and photographer arrived. So here I'm just putting some stain remover spray on Mickey with a wet sponge as he just had a tiny stable stain on his side there and it came off really easily. After we took some photos with Casper, so here I'm holding my grooming box, Casper's head collar and lead rope, as well as his food bowl, which he was very interested in, and he actually ended up picking it up by the handle, which was so funny. I don't think he was too impressed and thought he was getting some food, so sorry Casper. Next, after a quick wardrobe change, Mickey decided to have a little chew on his lead rope, which probably wasn't the best for having our photos taken, because we actually did some more photos of me grooming him, so I just used a jelly scrubber and gave him a nice little massage, which I think he really enjoyed as he actually started falling asleep. Now, I don't think I've ever seen Mickey look this relaxed before. Like, look at his little bottom lip. He's just loving his massage. Unfortunately, I can't be massaging Mickey all day, so we then moved on and did some tail grooming shots, as well as some of me picking out Mickey's hooves. And I think he had sort of other things on his mind, such as the really lovely fresh grass right next to him. So for a lot of the photos, he was going down to try and get the grass, so we had to get Team Pony to try and click and get Mickey's ears forward. So after Mickey's photos were done, we then put on his fly stuff, and we took some photos of Mickey and Casper with their fly rugs and fly masks on, and I don't think Casper looked too impressed in this photo, but Mickey I think was very excited to go out in the field and have a bit of a rest from the photo shoot. Then after a little bit of trusty bucket shaking to get their ears forward, I then led them out into the field, and here Casper's ears pricked up a little bit more because he realised that, oh, I'm going out in the field to have some grass, yay! But before the horses could do some grazing, we had to do a quick few photos of me holding them in the field, and they looked so cute. So I'm actually having a bit of a rest now. I'm having a rest and having my photo taken because now the horses get the centre of attention. Casper's actually being so good, we just let him loose. They're getting some photos of him currently in his fly rug, just sort of chilling. So he's quite happy because he's having some grass. I don't know where Mickey's gone. I think he's just walked right down to the bottom of the field. So I don't know what they're going to be like to be caught again because they're going to have to be ridden later. Well, Casper, not Mickey. So meanwhile the horses were having their photos taken in the field, I quickly ran up to my loft, got changed into my cream breeches and my show shirt, and this is because the next photo was going to be for an article on all of the things you need to take to a show, so the sort of packing list so you don't forget anything. So that looked really cool with all of the stuff out, so my saddle, my bridle, helmet, boots, body protector, hay, show jacket, water, the list goes on. As well as taking some photos from the side on view of the van, we also scooted round to the back and took some in the actual tack room, so I was holding up my little boot bag and that ended up looking really cute. Meanwhile, it was action stations round the corner with Casper taking off his fly rug, putting on his cooler, putting on his travel boots, as well as his posh leather head collar. I'm so lucky to have Casper because he is such a lovely boy and was so good having all these new people around him, but I think he secretly was loving the attention. And while Holly was very kindly putting on Casper's tail guard, I quickly had to put my hair up and put my helmet on, ready for some more photos. Once I put on my helmet and gloves, it was then time to do some photos of me leading him into the van, and as usual he was such a good boy, loaded first time like every time and just went straight in there. Second time round wasn't as good because I was supposed to stand more by his shoulder, which then he was a little bit more confused because it was different to usual. Again, he was a bit confused because he was like, why am I being loaded the second time? So after that we finished. Then after lunch we decided to take some photos in the sand school or arena, and here I was just doing some in-hand leading with Mickey, and it was a bit more difficult than it looks because we had to try and get Mickey's ears forward as he was walking, and this next clip just really sums up how Mickey was feeling about it.
Oh, that's it. The old tugging shot.
No, as you can see, Mickey isn't really a mover, so we then did some photos of him standing square in a box, and he actually stood really nicely for those photos. We had to do a bit of sand shaking to get his ears forward, but he was actually really well behaved, and even though here he was going to go for like a little sneaky mouthful of grass, he was such a good boy and stood really nicely for when we're having our photos taken. Also, enjoy these really interesting sort of chicken noises to try and get Mickey's ears forward. Words cannot describe how I felt when I saw Casper in this state. After bathing him the night before, bathing that morning, he only had to go and roll on the day of a photo shoot. Like, seriously, Casper? So when life gives you a poo stain, there are only a few things you can do. So we took some photos of me with Casper and his poo stain looking rather concerned, and then afterwards we did some photos of me washing him and bathing him off and getting him clean. Well, as clean as I possibly could. There was still a little yellow mark there, which I definitely wasn't salty about, but no, it was fine. It ended up looking fine. It's just a little bit more effort and hassle on my side. So while Casper was drying off, we then went up to the donkeys and took some photos with them, and the donkeys were so good, especially with the photographer that they hadn't seen before, and we actually managed to get a photo with all donkeys and all of their ears forward, which is basically unheard of because having 3 donkeys and making them all cooperate at the same time is pretty difficult. And of course, it wouldn't be a Pony Mag photo shoot without Jeddy having some cuddles with the donkeys. She just absolutely loves them. Once we'd finished taking photos with the donkeys and once Casper had dried off, it was now time to tack him up. He actually dried pretty quickly, especially as it was one of the hottest days of the year. So we also ended up plaiting Mickey's mane, which not only helped him cool down but looked really cute, and he's just having a little nap because it was a very tiring day. And then we did some flat work exercises, so we took some riding photos, and excuse Casper and I's riding here, we're both very tired and we're suffering a little bit with the heat, so there were lots of drinks of water and things to keep us all going. And then Casper's favourite, we did some show jumping photos, and here we're doing sort of an exercise. We have to do quite a tight turn, and we had a lot of fun doing that. And then this fence we put up to an upright, and we actually jumped it diagonally for one of the jumping exercises. And then we quickly rushed back to the yard to do another wardrobe change of the day, and here we're taking some photos with my bitless bridle for a sort of bitless article, and we just took some stills with Casper, and with the sort of grasses here, the photos ended up looking so beautiful as well. We also took some in the school, and as you can hear, there was a little rattle of the treat jar to make sure Casper's ears were forward in a lot of the photos. And then lastly, we just popped one last cross pole. He was so good, especially as we were so tired by the end of the day, because these photo shoots are so busy and draining but so much fun as well. So here Casper deserved a really nice cool off because again it was so hot, and I think he really enjoyed having a little hose down. And we had to take some photos while Casper had his, fingers crossed, final shower of the day. So after that we let the horses out into the field, and they had, yes, of course, a roll. I think after being so clean for the majority of the day, they just had to get it out of their system, roll and get muddy again. And yes, to finish it all off, Mickey rolled as well, and they did some simultaneous rolling. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to check out my book that is out really soon, I'll leave a link in the description below because Pony Mag very kindly helped me out make it. So I am really excited for you guys to see that. So if you're new or have not done so already, also please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!